When you change, when I change, when we change the world.
We are going to talk about corporate values alignment, or you could say organizational values alignment. Now, we've just worked on values, correct? Yes? And what are values? Values are the things that are what?
Most important.
Most important to us. Absolutely. Well, we've just been doing it on ourselves as an individual, correct?
Yes.
Well, what about an organization, a company, a group? If we understand that values is what is most important to us, if we also understand that values actually determine our what?
Actions.
Our behavior and our actions and our results. They actually drive our behavior. Actually, our values are the single biggest thing that drives our behavior, and that is probably the biggest thing that actually gets the results that we get. If that's the case, and if we've done this for us as individuals, then how important would this be for us to know this for our company? Would that be important? Would it be important for us to know what is driving the ship of my company? What are the values of the different people I'm working with? And are they towards my mission and vision? Or actually, are they away? Are they sabotaging my mission and vision? It's almost like if you think of, we're all on a boat, or we're all on a canoe, or we're on some kind of boat device, where we're paddling across a lake, or we're paddling across an ocean from one spot and we want to get from A to B. If as we're rowing, everybody is doing their own thing. One person's pushing the water this way. One person on the side is pushing the water this way, facing this way. Another person is pushing the water that way. And then there's no continuity in the way the paddles are working in the water. What's going to happen to the boat?
It's going to move very slowly.
Going to move very slowly.
In case it does move.
In case it does move, right. Now, same boat. People on the boat. And they're paddling. And this time, they're paddling in the same direction. Not the same timing, but the same direction. So they're all facing this way on both sides of the boat, and they're paddling here, and the person on this side is paddling here. Paddling here, paddling here. Same direction, but not at the same time. What's going to happen to the boat? It's probably going to go like this. It'll rock, but it will kind of move in that direction.
Forward.
But now imagine where you have a race, and you have this boat, and yet you have another boat. And the other boat, there's a drummer. You know how they did this in the old days, right? They had a boat with a drummer that would, you know, I remember watching the movie, I think it was Ben-Hur, with Charlton Heston, when they were going to war, and basically they paddled. They had the slaves at the bottom, and they're just paddling, and they had the drummers go boom, 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 boom. And as that's happening, what's happening? It's boom, 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 boom. Or in this case, because it was from the movie, I remember they were chained, right? Because they were slaves, and it was, you know, pulling back, and then back and forth, all in the timing of that boom, 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 boom. So all of those oars were in the water at an identical, simultaneous time. There was a rhythm. There was a feverish rhythm. Now what happened with those boats? Competing for the speed against another boat that didn't have that timing. They were all moving in the right direction, but not at the right time. What was happening with that boat? That boat was just charting a course so fast and so furious, just like I said earlier, that whoever knew the power that was there, because they were all moving in the same direction and they had the same timing. So when we talk about corporate values alignment, it's almost like we're that boat. And everybody on that boat, in this case in the movie with Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston. You know, in that case, in that movie, they were slaves and they were going to war. But let's just say that you have a boat and you want to get the fastest, most quickest way to your destination, which is your goal, and the people that are working with you love you. They choose to work with you. They choose to follow your lead. They want to be part of your vision. So it's a boat of everybody that's bought in to the mission and the vision. What would happen if you learned a way to be able to get everybody moving in the same direction towards that unified goal? Which reminds me of how many of us pay attention to sports. How many of us watch basketball? Maybe you know that we're in Los Angeles, right? So in LA, Los Angeles, California, USA, there's a team called the Los Angeles Lakers. And you know, in the Lakers team, there was a gentleman called Shaquille O'Neal. Huge center, 7'2", almost 300 pounds, an absolute dominating force. And then not only you had Shaquille O'Neal, you had this young buck, this kid out of high school who thinks he's all that, Mr. Kobe Bryant. I mean, at that time, I think you had Kevin Garnett, you had one or two people who had actually jumped from high school to the NBA, National Basketball Association. Most people, you got to go to high school, you got to go to college, get that 4 years of university experience playing basketball. I mean, even Michael Jordan, right? Went to North Carolina, played college to get to where he went. But Kobe Bryant, this amazing kid, the son of Jelly Bean Bryant, who was an NBA player for many years ago, who didn't have much of a career, I don't think, in the US, traveled a lot in Europe, played basketball in Europe. Kobe Bryant, who was, you know, going from country to country. At one point he's living in Italy, and he's exposed to this game of basketball, and he falls in love with this game, and he gets these videos, and he's watching these videos, and he's paying attention to this sport, and he becomes just a master at it. And by the age of 17, he's back in the US. He's a celebrity basketball player in high school, and the NBA goes, "We'll have you," and they pick him up. Joins the Lakers. And I remember I actually met Kobe Bryant, I think within the first year of him joining the Lakers, at a party somewhere in LA. And I just remember seeing him, and he was very quiet. He was just very quiet, didn't talk to anybody, shoulders, you know. But on the court, as we've learned a little bit later, he had a different mentality. He was just extremely confident. That was his refuge. So he comes to the Lakers, and the Lakers at that point have Shaquille O'Neal. He's the king of the ship. He's the director of the movie. He's the producer. He's running the show. He's been established for many years. And because of Kobe's personality type and Shaq's personality type, Shaq being more fun-loving, hey, more personable, hey, you all, you know, the jokester, you know, wants to involve everybody, and Kobe being a little not so extroverted, a little bit more sort of introverted, a little more to himself. He's grown up in Europe. He doesn't quite fit in with the players here. He didn't grow up the same way. He doesn't have the same cultural values. There was a clash of two personality types and two value systems. And what happened? The team with the greatest talent, of course, Kobe became a huge celebrity with the Lakers. He would do things that no one could do. He would score points. Eventually, Kobe's game became so great that there was a question of ego of who is the better player, who should get the ball, and they were playing an individual sport, going back to the boat, everybody rowing, you know, in different directions. It's my ball. No, the ball should go to the center. It should go to Shaquille O'Neal. No, he's not really that good. It should go out to Kobe Bryant, who should do his own individual play. So all of this ego battle conflict was happening, and that team, having perhaps the most best talent in the NBA, would barely get to a point of getting in the playoffs, and they would get kicked out of the playoffs every single time. In fact, one of the games specifically, there was a time when, under the coaching of Del Harris, I guess it was the worst moment was when they kept giving the ball to Kobe, and I think it was probably the semifinals of the NBA playoffs, or maybe the second round, third round, and Kobe threw up an air ball. They give it back to him again with a minute left. He throws up an air ball. They give him the ball again, threw an air ball. He threw up 4 air balls in a matter of a minute, and then they were sent home. So all the most talented, $125 million roster of players, and they can't win a championship. And yet the Lakers have had a history of winning championships until they call in the help of Phil Jackson. Now, Phil Jackson had been playing, he was a former player as well. Phil Jackson had been the coach for the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan's team. And you tell me, okay, so if you have a problem with your players and you're competing with one another, you think you're better, you don't have respect for each other, you don't have respect for the coach, you don't have respect for authority, you basically get on the court, do what you want to do because you're paid all this money, then all of a sudden one coach comes and joins your organization that has 6 rings. This coach has a proven track record. This coach has coached Michael Jordan, and you've got an ego, but you're now meeting the coach that's won 6 championships, as Coach Michael Jordan, to those championships. Do you think you might have some respect, like he might know something? Phil Jackson comes over. When Phil Jackson joins the Lakers, he sees what he sees. Selfish, ego, self-centered, me, myself, and I, not the team, lack of respect, lack of trust, all of the issues. So what does Phil Jackson do? He says, you know what? Throw all the balls away. We're going to get on the court, and I'm going to basically take you through drills that 10-year-olds do, because that's how you guys basically act. You might not have said that, but basically that was it. And they were frustrated. Why are you making us spend 2 months on a court, running around, setting picks, doing this, doing that without a ball? We haven't even dribbled a ball in 2 months, and the season's coming up. He was teaching them fundamentals. He was teaching them how to have respect for the team game, for the team sport. He was taking the ball out of their hands, the idea, the ego that I'm the best and I can shoot and I can score. He was teaching them something. And what he was teaching them, and what he got to teach them, is this thing called the triangle offense. And he also taught them the triangle defense. The power of that triangle offense and that power of that triangle defense. Now, as we look at the triangle offense, if we look at this, what do we notice at the top here? It comes to a specific point, yes? We could go in like that. Comes to a specific point, yes? Right there. That's the triangle offense, and it's pointing to a specific point. Now, let me ask you a question. It's a pretty simple question. What would you guess is the specific point, the mission and the vision, the one unified direction, mission and vision of any company, of any team, basketball team, or I'll even ask you, of the Lakers at that time? Why do you think they went and hired Phil Jackson, which, by the way, Phil Jackson's a highly paid coach, one of the highest paid coaches in history. In fact, I don't think there was a coach that ever got paid $10 million for a season. They had to go and hire and pay that kind of money. Why? For what purpose? Why would you go and spend that much money on a coach unless you had a plan to what?
Win.
Win. Win what?
Win tournaments.
Win tournaments. Ultimately win what? The championship. This triangle offense means everybody is aligned with one mission and vision, which is victory, which is triumph, which is NBA champions of the world. Now, what he was basically saying is you need to remove all your selfish wants, your needs, your stuff, and you need to play the what game? The team game. Corporate values alignment is getting everybody on your team to play the team game. And we all know what happened. Right after getting kicked out of the playoffs, year after year, humiliating the Lakers. First season, Phil Jackson comes back, teaches them how to get rid of their own selfish wants, their own needs, their own stuff. It gets them aligned to playing in one direction. Means, you know what, if I want to shoot the ball, but my role is I need to grab rebounds. Because he has a slightly higher shooting percentage than me. I'm going to give up my desire to flaunt my ego and take shots that are ill-advised. I'm going to let him take the shots because we're playing a team game. Maybe I need to adapt and I need to be getting rebounds. Maybe I need to adapt and maybe I need to be the point guard. Maybe I need to be the distributor, the passer, instead of the selfish ball hog. There was a time when Kobe was known as a complete selfish ball hog and was hated. Hated in the NBA. Only place he was liked was LA. Every other city booed. And as we know now, he's retiring. This is his final year. 19 years in the NBA. And in every single city he goes to, he has people, even the Celtics, even the Kings, other teams that have hated him for all this time, they pay homage to the man. They give him respect. They give him a standing ovation. Because with the leadership of Phil Jackson and learning the triangle offense, he was able to finally change. And he became a fantastic leader. Kobe Bryant has become a fantastic leader. He's become a sacrificial leader. Yes, there's been times when he's been frustrated because he has an obsession for winning, and having 25 wins in a season, in an 82-game season, is totally unacceptable to him. So he has got frustrated. But everybody knows that he has carried his team on his own shoulders and won 5 championships. So, corporate values alignment is really about that. It's getting the team to play the team game. And it all starts with the mission and the vision. So as you may or may not know, we have a conflict resolution program that we've been doing for quite some time. I'm very dear friends with the Mayor of Ontario, Paul Leon. And we have been working with some government agencies where he brings us in, where they have, just like on that basketball team, there was ego, there was a selfishness, me, myself, and I attitude. Well, we go into companies, and what do we see? Me, myself, I, selfish. We find there's companies that have resentment, hatred, jealousy, backstabbing, people sabotaging, people pulling the rug out of one another, people throwing other people under the bus, total sabotaging. We've been in organizations where the leader is fearful of even getting up and standing in front of the audience. Shakes because he is fearful of his own organization. Doesn't even want to stand up. Racial discrimination, another one. Sexual harassment. All of these issues that people have in all areas of life, they have in their life, normal life, personal life. Where do you think? Of course they have it in the business. They got it there too. All this stuff. When you learn corporate values alignment, which also spins into and includes conflict resolution, or I should say conflict resolution. When you learn all that, you have a power of moving an organization that's crippled, that's stuck, that is not able to, that is sinking, that's going to go out of business, or in government agencies, they don't go out of business. They're there to serve the public. So basically the service to the public is in jeopardy. And if you work with certain agencies that their job is to maintain the safety of the public, and you have people that are extremely angry working there, All they have to do is not push one button or do one thing. And by not pushing one button or doing one thing, they're jeopardizing the health of millions of people in that city. That is what we've been brought in to do. Work with those issues, because those issues, those internal issues in those government agencies are actually health issues for the city. So it takes a company that is about to go under, people losing their jobs, their families being affected, the city, the state, the country being affected, and it turns that ship around. So it's almost like that ship is like the Titanic about to go down. And what it does is, before that tragedy happens, this program course corrects, deals with the issues, goes to the root cause of the issues. The root of anger, the root of jealousy, the root of resentment, the root of miscommunication, the root of the lack of trust, respect. It goes to the root of it. It transforms all those things. And it gets everybody back to the triangle offense on the same page, aligned towards a mission and vision. How much like to learn how to do this? How many of us ourselves work with people? And for us to get to our goal, we need to leverage the people that we work with. Yes? How much would like to learn how to do this even with our family, with our kids? To align the family towards a unified direction. So that we playing on the same team here. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
How much like to learn how to get rid of all blocks to a group, whether it's your family, whether it's your company, whether it's any organization you're part of. Align everything so that you get to your goal faster, quicker, better, smarter than ever before. Yes? That's why you want to learn corporate values alignment. That's why you want to learn organizational values alignment. I call it corporate, I call it organizational, because some of them are corporations, some of them are organizations. This can work for a charity, philanthropic. This can work for a church, a group of teachers in school. So my question to you is, can you think of a group of people that come together and it doesn't look pretty? Yeah? Maybe not only doesn't look pretty, it's darn right disgusting, humiliating, and embarrassing. And who's watching this? Who's watching all this? Our kids watch adults act worse than kids. So, this program, we are taking this program to the world, beyond just the organization of a company, but we're taking this to the government, beyond government agencies, to the government as a whole. And my mission and vision is, in the next 5 to 10 years, we have a global conflict resolution and organizational values alignment program. One that reaches the White House, one that reaches diplomats from all over the world, one that reaches the countries that are now fighting and at war, one that reaches the people whose lives we can spare, who are being, I'm just going to say it, you can delete it after I say it, who are being murdered on a daily basis, men, women, and children, in the most disgusting fashion. Our goal is to take this to the biggest community, the biggest organization. And that biggest community, that biggest organization is the community organization called the World. World. So I'm very proud of you that you're learning this. And you may notice I'm very passionate about this, because this is actually right to my core, where I want to put most of my time, my energy, resources, because this pays me back in ways that money could never. When I know that I'm helping kids that are suffering around the world through the conflicts that they never signed up for this. They never signed up being born in a country that's just being bombarded for one reason or another. And I know that sometimes the wars are unavoidable. I get it. The consequences of wars the consequences of conflict. Even if, for people that are alive, it's post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which is a very big issue. So I'm going to cover the basic steps now of what we do in this program. And my goal is for us to learn it and for us to apply this to our business, our company, and I'm going to invite you all to join the cause. Participate in any way, shape, or form to take this to the global community, because if the global community doesn't get this message and we get this just on a micro level in our own little family, in our own little company, we're ultimately still part of a system that has this huge issue, which means we're just going to come face to face with the world's conflict anyway. Make sense?